One of the things that having the privilege to be the steward of this piece of forested land has showed me is the powerful impact that an individual landowner, an individual forest steward can have over a forest if they are willing to use the right tools and to do it as necessary to help their forest be healthy. When I bought Bear Island 5 years ago, it had just about every problem that a forest could have. It had acres and acres and acres of high-graded forest where there are basically no healthy trees. It had about 30 acres of the worst invasive plant infestation that I've ever seen. It had the persistent impacts of deer browse on the understory. And it had forest roads and trails that had been poorly maintained, were unstable, and were eroding. Commercial forest management can be this really powerful tool that can have a really positive impact on our forests. So when I bought this land, I used a mechanized logging crew to put in 15 acres of patch cuts in areas that were uniformly unhealthy trees as a result of that poor past management. They did an amount of work in a few weeks that I couldn't have accomplished probably in years. However, there are also times when commercial forest management is not enough, when there are other things that we need to do to take care of our forests that can never be fit within the context of a commercial forest management project. In the aftermath of that forest management project, I planted thousands of acorns to give oaks a better chance to establish in that young forest that would regenerate. In the years since, I've managed dozens of acres of this forest, finding each healthy tree and releasing it from competition individually, both by just cutting trees and leaving them on the ground, and then also cutting trees and then pulling them out of the woods using my old tractor and then my skidder. I've come to grips with the idea of using herbicide to kill invasive plants, and using it have controlled that massive infestation of non-native invasives. Each year I rent a small excavator and I've taught myself to use it to both restore eroding skid trails and to put skid trails in places where they can be more resilient. I've taught myself to be a hunter, and I specifically target antlerless deer, does, in the hope that we can have a more sustainable population of deer on our landscape. And finally, as you've seen in my last video, I've even walked through those patch cuts 5 years later and found each individual healthy tree, released it from competition, and pruned it. None of these things could have been done in a commercial context. Each of them was challenging and frustrating and at times bittersweet, and each of them was completely essential to helping this forest be healthy again. So now when I think about this forest and all of the threats and the stressors and the problems that I inherited, I think of these things as a blessing, because they have shown me what is possible. What is possible if someone is willing to do what is necessary, to use the right tools, and to dedicate themselves to making a forest healthy again through a million small actions.